Hey everyone, I'm Richard from the Rivershop and I'm making some tutorial videos for you today. This video is about what to do with your breadboard once you've got it home in the post after doing our workshop. What you're going to notice when your board arrives in the post is that you've oiled your board and it's got a foundation of protective oil on it. What we're going to do is we're going to rub that down with 120 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to talk you through that now and show you how that's going to look. What we're after is a light rub down, not to change the shape, but just to abrade the surface. This is giving your oil the opportunity to penetrate the wood fibers and bond with your board. Okay. What you can see here is a slightly scored breadboard. That's still got a really good protective layer of Odie's oil on the underside. And what we're going to do now is put original Odie's oil on the top coat and leave that for an hour before we buff it off. The important thing to remember with Odie's oil is you give it a really good mix. You want the consistency of honey, and you really want to give it a good stir before you use it. Now, the beauty of this stuff is how little you actually need. So just using the material off those mixing sticks onto my board, I'm going to see how far I can make that go. What observation you might have is A, I'm not wearing any gloves. Odie's oil is a solvent-free, all-natural oil to use on your material. It's food safe, it's non-toxic, and it even moisturizes your skin. So you don't need to worry about getting this material on your skin. It is in no way bad for you. Second observation you might have is that I didn't use a lot of oil. What I don't want to have is an applicator pad that's completely saturated with oil when I want most of that oil to go into my material. So use a little bit, work it in with elbow grease, and then use a little bit more. You don't want to be drowning your material in Odie's oil, as you're not going to get the best results doing it that way. We're going to flip it over and do the other side before we move on to the edges. So try and remember, you can always add a little bit more if you need it. Okay, so what you can see there is my top coat of Odie's oil applied. And what I want to do now is elevate the board on something like this, where I can leave it for about an hour, where the Odie's oil is going to polymerize with the grain of the wood. And after an hour, I'm going to come back and buff it off. As you can see, I barely touched the jar that I have, so you could argue this is pretty much a lifetime supply of Odie's oil for your breadboard. Okay, so you've left your board to dry. The waiting time for a second application can be reduced down to 30 minutes, but you can leave it for an hour if you want. Make sure that you never leave more than 12 hours without buffing your Odie's oil off. So I like to say 2 cloths, and now I'm just working that off. I find that the goal here is that your towel barely has any oil on it. We don't want our buff off towels or terry towels to be soaking with oil, as that's just a waste and an over application of the product. So all we're doing now is buffing that to a really nice streak-free finish. And your board is now touch dry. I like to leave that to dry for a further few hours. And the most important thing to remember is if you leave this board after being coated for 3 to 5 days without coming in contact with any moisture at all, you're going to allow the Odies to fully protect the wood. The The longer you can leave this before it comes in contact with moisture, the more protection the board is going to have while that Odie's oil begins to cure. What you have now is a really nice, durable, fully protected breadboard that you've made and treated yourself. So I hope that's useful, and it's as easy as that. Let me know what you think and if you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you back for your next course. Thanks so much for watching. Head over to therivershop.co.uk to check out what courses we're doing next, and be sure to stay in touch, and we'll see you soon.